So I first and foremost want to thank everybody who showed love on my last video about the paraprofessional video that I made. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. Thank you very much. Now, just remember before I get started, most paras desire to become a teacher, but most teachers do not desire to become a para, which means a lot of paras who are teachers now understand probably more so than others what paras actually do. And I'm making a second video, not only because I received a lot of positive feedback, but I want to go more into detail about the expectations and roles of what a para actually does versus what is on paper. Because there are teachers, even teachers who have been in the school system who've never been a para, they really believe that there are paras who do not do a lot of the same things that teachers do. So I'm going to kill that myth with facts, all right? So while on paper, you are correct. A paraprofessional is not expected to lesson plan, implement lesson plans, meet with parents, do these different things that teachers do. They're not expected to be certified on the level of a teacher anyway. Although I'm aware that there are some states, I've been informed by other paras in other states that do require certification. States like Florida, a lot of paras do not require certification. But either way, the certification is not on par with what a teacher is. So a teacher's going to going to get paid more than a para based on that certification. Although the tasks are very similar, okay? Not saying they're exactly the same, but they're very similar. Now, let's break this down. A lot of teachers who have never been paras or have no understanding what paras do, here's the elephant in the room. A lot of teachers, there are schools that have teachers that are taking advantage of the paraprofessionals. It's a conversation that paras have internally that teachers may not be aware of because teachers know what they're doing. They're in with the principal, they've been there forever, and they have a relationship with individuals in the district, and they can get their way. They overutilize the para, they call them in, and they make them do things like a teacher do while they kind of just do the minimum. This happens in school districts. So for anybody out there saying a para doesn't lesson plan or doesn't implement lesson plans or doesn't meet with parents, you're not correct, okay? Because there are districts where they take advantage of the paras, and guess what? When a teacher's out on FMLA leave, like 14 weeks or whatever, or however long they got to take care of themselves, 6 weeks, whatever it may be, they're not calling a sub to fill that long. You know who they're going to? The para, the experienced para, especially one who has a good relationship with the kids. And you know what? When these paras in these classrooms, do you really think that there's no lesson planning or implementing lesson planning or grading papers or meeting with parents during that time? No, you're mistaken. There is, okay? They are doing what a teacher is doing in that particular situation. Now, when a teacher's not on extended leave, right, you would expect them to replace that teacher with another teacher. But guess what? There's a lot of districts, because they have a teacher shortage, there's some year one teachers who are not good with class management. They're going to take the 15-plus year para and replace them. And they're not going to get a sub who wants to do that for a lengthy period of time, especially when it's a subject area like math that's high demand and a huge shortage in teachers. They're not going to get a sub to fulfill that role, right? And then when you expect them to have teachers break up the class of that teacher who's in absence and take students and work together, that doesn't always happen. In fact, more times than not, than you realize, they're just filling that role with paras. They're like, hey, we only got 2 months left in the school year. Put it on the para, let them do it. So even during testing season, the paras are proctoring tests and grading tests, and grading scores and making sure the test scores stay up so they can get their little rating. And, paras are doing what teachers are doing in a lot of those situations, and they're being taken advantage of. Now, here's a funny thing. Paraprofessionals are different. There's special ed paras and there's PE paras. They have different types of tasks. Both of them are severely overutilized. A special ed para, in my opinion, is the one who gets taken advantage of the most. They deal with a lot of different high needs kids who have high needs, special needs, and then they deal with a lot of behavioral kids as well. But so do PE paras, right? They'll throw them into different settings because they're like, hey, this classroom is outside, but we need help inside. And even though you're hired as a PE para on paper, you're still doing the lunch duties at a higher rate. You're helping with after school programs when the buses run late because they have a shortage of bus drivers. The lunch duties, like you don't even get your breaks on time. Sometimes you don't get a break at all. You kind of got to force it. And then teachers, when they don't communicate and they're running late and picking up their students, guess who misses their break time and get their break time cut short? It's the paras. But I bet you won't see that with a teacher, because if they miss like 10 minutes of their break and the paras running late, it's going to be hell. The paras don't really have a leg to stand on. They don't have a voice. And this is the problem and the elephant in the room. So as I conclude, don't assume that paras only do what they do on the paper or they're being taken advantage of in just certain things you're aware of. They're being taken advantage of by teachers. I'm going to leave it at that. And they're doing what a teacher's doing at a severely underpaid salary.